What up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you, and I don't do this a lot, giving you the good old retro reviews from back in the day, but normally if I do, it has something to do with what's going on inside wrestling now. Like if a WrestleMania is coming up, I'll review a WrestleMania from the past. I've done SummerSlams in the past. I've done, just trying to keep the significance of the event. Like if this year's pay-per-view is coming up the night before, I'll review the pay-per-view from the year before, and I've done stuff like that if I have time to watch the documentaries. Now, I was sitting here today, getting ready to play some Madden, and like I said, I like to keep a little. I have a little DVD player, flips up a little screen, and I watch some wrestling as I'm doing it. And most people think that it's hard to pay attention between both things, but it's actually not that hard for me. So I wanted to sit down and I wanted to watch the last I apologize. I wanted to watch the last TNA pay-per-view that I actually, honestly, really cared about and was really pumped up to watch the show. The last one I can think of was Lockdown 2012. This had an awesome build. Beer Money was one of my favorite tag teams back in the day. James Storm is still one of my favorite wrestlers. Robert Roode is one of the guys in TNA that I know is going to give me a good match every time, whether it's a pay-per-view match, whether it's on TV, if house shows came to my area. I knew if Robert Roode was on the card, Robert Roode's going to have the best match of the night. He's not Triple H, but it's the same way that I think about Triple H. Rude very rarely stinks up the joint, and I believe that he really does have the it factor. There's very few guys that I think that if TNA closed up shop and WWE picked up some contracts, I know that Robert Roode is the one guy that we'd see on Monday Night Raw the soonest out of the whole group. He could pretty much bring the same character to WWE, and I think he would be a success if WWE wanted him to. Watching this pay-per-view did have some good, some bad, and some ugly. The ugly will come up later. And what I thought was going to be bad as the show started was they started the Lethal Lockdown match, a.k.a. TNA's version of War Games. This was billed as the Bischoffs versus the Bischoffs, I guess you can say. Garrett Bischoff teamed a team against Eric Bischoff and his dad. And yes, Eric Bischoff did wrestle in this match. And immediately I thought, oh shit, this is going to be the shits. It's going to be horrible. Then once I saw the teams, I was like, this is actually, they gave this decent people that I know is going to go out there and try and make the best of a bad situation, knowing that this is probably going to end up on some Worst of TNA DVD or, the Death of TNA book that will be written someday. Garrett Bischoff is the captain of a team consisting of Austin Aries, AJ Styles, Mr. Anderson, and Rob Van Dam. Eric Bischoff is on the team that consists of Gunner, Bully Ray, Christopher Daniels, and Kazarian. Now, when this match first started, you see the team babyface in the back trying to figure out who's going to go first, who's going to go last, from all guys that have participated in Lethal Lockdown matches. Minus, I don't think Austin Aries has ever been in one, but they sort of treat him like he is the best in the world here. Garrett walks up to the four veterans and says, hey, I know I'm the rookie, I know I'm the young guy, but I want to go in the match first tonight, knowing that I'm going to get my ass kicked, knowing that I can't tap out, knowing that I can't submit, or he is banished from TNA forever, which is the meaning of this match. If Garrett loses, he has to leave TNA, and then he can never use the Bischoff name again as well. And if Eric loses, same thing goes for him. He gets banished from TNA, and he's never able to return. Now, basically, the truth does happen. For the millionth time, I don't remember a whole lot about Garrett Bischoff, and I honestly sort of wish I saw him more on TV actually wrestling matches. I actually was like, yo, why can't Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe just be a team in the tag team division for TNA, which honestly right now is sort of at the weakest point it's ever been at. I know people can poke fingers at the X division, that they haven't cared about that in a long time, but the tag division honestly really hasn't been the bread and butter. But I mean, the tag division has always been really strong in TNA, and as of right now, it's probably the weakest point that it's ever been. And having a team of aces and eights seems like it would really work right now. They can start some sort of angle with Gunstorm, see if they can take the titles. they're not doing anything else except helping out inside Bully Ray matches. So hey, it's not the worst thing in the world. This match honestly wasn't great. It came down to what you thought it was going to come down to, which was pretty funny. Everybody just started to fall down one by one until it was just Garrett Bischoff and Eric Bischoff standing inside the ring. Eric's hitting Garrett with one of those big freaking kendo sticks. He's wailing away on him, this, that, and the other. And Garrett gets the win. Eric Bischoff has been gone since this was Lockdown. Lockdown took place in April. He's been gone from TNA for longer than a year. Honestly, when this happened, I was like thinking of Bischoff and WCW and goodbye angles, and I thought within 3 months we'd see him again. He's actually kept his word. He hasn't been on TV. He's a big guy inside TNA in charge of all the TV and stuff, so he's there. It's kind of a surprise they're not capitalizing on him as a character and getting him out there. But that was honestly a good way to start this show off. As you know, in Lockdown, all the matches are inside of a steel cage. You can either, pin or submit your guy, or you can go out the door or climb out over the top. As far as I know, I'm an old school guy. I don't think any of the matches ended with anybody going up over the top, which never really made sense to me as a kid watching cage matches. Seeing how, it seems like if you were to leave your opponent in the ring and climb out over the top, it would almost be like you're running away, but yet that's how you win the match. It is what it is, I guess you can say. Next match was Samoa Joe and Magnus going up against the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Chris Sabin, this was during his return from his ACL, MCL, whatever it was. They were hyping it up as the Guns had just came back and they were on their reunion tour and they had earned a World Tag Team Championships match already, and they were moving up the way. Samoa Joe and Magnus, they didn't really talk about it, but I remember before they became this team, these guys were beating the holy hell out of each other. I really thought this match was really good. Samoa Joe has always been the one guy can work with anybody, whether they're babyface, whether they're heel, whether they're big, whether they're small. He seems like a huge guy, but he just works well with everybody. Joe and Magnus picked the win. It was a good match. Devon versus Robbie E. honestly wasn't that good of a match. The whole time I was sitting there watching Rob Terry on the outside with Robbie E., wondering what the hell has happened to him, trying to figure out if he was still in TNA. If he's not, I never was able to figure out an answer. Next match was Gail Kim versus Velvet Sky. The best part of this match was Madison Rayne outside of the ring, sort of arguing with Velvet Sky, keeping her interested during the whole match, and taking her away from Gail Kim. Every time she got the upper hand, Gail Kim would sneak up and get the shit out of her because Velvet Sky was arguing with Madison on the outside. It was probably like, I know Gail Kim's a champion, and this is Velvet Sky's championship shot. They were hyping it up that, Velvet Sky had lost the Knockouts title to Gail Kim, and it took months and months before she was able to get a rematch. She wasn't just given the normal rematch clause that everybody else in the world is given. She had to, really go out and earn it. And it was like, well, why isn't she in the match with Madison Rayne? It would make a whole lot more sense because it seems like she wants to beat up Madison more than she wants to beat up Gail. While she was distracted, Gail was able to slip out the door and able to pick up the victory. It was good that somebody slipped out the door in a women's match and not in the guys' matches. Now then, after that match, Ric Flair came into the ring, and I have no idea. Probably if I was watching TV at the time and I was able to remember what was going on Impact at that point. But Ric Flair just calls out Hulk Hogan. Well, actually, he calls out the crowd first. I loved it. What are you looking at, fat boy? You know who I am? I'm Ric Flair. What are you looking at, man with no teeth? I'm Ric Flair. He's calling at everybody. Hogan comes out. Hogan and Flair brawl for like a minute, and it's freaking awesome because it's Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan. This is in front of a crowd in Nashville, Tennessee. 3,000 people came out to see this show. You gotta be kidding me. The next show, Lockdown, was in 2013 in San Antonio. I think it was in the Alamo Dome. They were able to get 10,000. So, a 7,000 fan increase for a pay-per-view. That's huge, how much TNA was able to grow in those 2 years, even though if you look at Lockdown 2012 and 2013, big decrease. Now, during the next match, Crimson versus Matt Morgan, I timed this perfect. During the Gail Kim and Velvet Sky, I was able to call Little Caesars. I ordered a pizza for pickup. I ran to the store. I didn't press pause. I wanted to see if I can do it. I made it there. and back by the time Jeff Hardy was coming out to the ring for his next match. Crimson and Matt Morgan, I have no cares of. But it was all about the undefeated streak of Crimson. Matt Morgan was looking for revenge or some shit. I saw a promo and whatever. Jeff Hardy versus Kurt Angle, one of the best matches on the card. This is definitely worth watching this show just to see this match. It's, 2 reasons why both of these... Well, Jeff Hardy does. He has a Volume 2. Why does Kurt Angle not have a Volume 2 of his greatest hits? All of those matches are within his first months of coming in with him and Samoa Joe. And that was like 5 years ago? 2005-ish? 2006? Man, it'd even be longer than that. Shoot, man, we haven't got an Angle DVD from TNA in like more than 6 years. It's got to be kidding me. But this whole match was built up around Kurt Angle saying that his oldest son said Jeff Hardy was his favorite wrestler, and that pissed Angle off, who was playing heel at this time. Jeff Hardy's only form of offense in this match, the only nitpick it can have, is he hits the Swanton Bomb on Kurt Angle like 6 times, and it's not able to put Kurt Angle away. But the one time he climbs up to the top and he does a Swanton off the top of the cage. TNA has the nicest cage in the business, by the way. Way better than than WWE's. I know in the 6 Sides of Steel, that was pretty cool because the way you could say it. But the way the way it looks on TV, top notch. I really like Lockdown for that one reason. And when they do cage matches on Impact sporadically. But the spot everybody knew was coming. Every Lockdown, somebody does it. They climb up at the top of the cage. They jump off. I think in the Anderson versus Angle one is where Angle missed Anderson and almost killed himself in the middle of the ring. But Jeff Hardy able to pick up the victory, as you would know. Next match was ODB and Eric Young going up against Serena and Rosita. That honestly was a good match. I didn't really like the the comedy tag team of the guy with the two, with the girl as a tag team going back and forth. But one match with no build. It was good to watch. It was funny. Next match, Bobby Roode versus James Storm. James Storm being in his hometown. Beer Money, a tag team of 4 years. It's not hard to book this right here. I mean, James Storm was champion for 7 days on TV. One day, no, I think it was two different TV tapings. I think he won it on the back end. They told us about it. They aired it, and then he was champion until the next tapings, and then he lost it at those tapings. So he was champion for like 7 days. Basically, Roode, who had won the Bound for Glory series but lost his match, was jealous that James Storm became the champion, beating Kurt Angle. So he smashed him over the head with the beer bottle. Once James Storm lost his match, it took him months and months in order to get a rematch. He wasn't given a straight-up rematch clause. What's up with TNA not giving champions rematches after they lose the match? It's the easiest thing in the world. I remember Bobby Roode fought AJ Styles twice, and he fought somebody else before Storm was actually able to get his title shot by beating Bully Ray on Impact. But these guys beat the hell out of each other. Storm is beating up Roode before the bell even sounds. Outside of the ring, this, that, and around. Roode lands just some cheap shots on the outside. Storm is busted open before the bell even rings. They finally get each other thrown inside the ring. Storm is bleeding heavily throughout this match. They keep on showing his wife standing next to the guy, Montgomery. I can't remember his first name, but he's John Michael Montgomery's brother, but he's from Montgomery Gentry. The last big song he had was the one song that sounded just like My Town, that he already had sung before. They got some good tunes. They just aren't big, huge stars. But for TNA, it's like having Michael Jackson front row. These guys beat the holy hell out of each other. This thing came down to 3 super kicks, which James Storm calls the last call. The first one because they pull off Roode to some guy who will do anything in order to get the win. He throws the ref in front of him, and Storm super kicks the ref. A few minutes later, he super kicks Storm. Storm super kicks Roode. Finally, Roode leans up against the cage door. Storm kicks him again. This time, he falls through the door. And Storm lost his one chance. This was all built up around him only getting one shot at the title, and he lost his one shot at the title. This is fucking awesome. One problem is, Storm never got another shot at the title. He's one of my favorite guys, but he gets shafted, and this was built up around him and his family, and he thinks that, he embarrassed them. He took the next 2 months off before he came back at Slammiversary, defeating Crimson, ending the undefeated streak. Looking back on it now, that doesn't mean anything. In order to get in the Bound for Glory series, only for Rude to screw him out of it and say that he couldn't get it, nobody else is going to get it. But damn good show. Make sure you check this out. Peace out, everybody.